What's going on, Cancer? I salute the divinity in you, and welcome to the Chariot Friends. Justin here, and are you feeling you ready to take some inspired action with this first quarter moon that's happening in Pisces? This one is giving me this visual of getting like a stage ready. Setting up the props, getting the costumes ready, especially with the Sabian symbol. This is the time to be thinking about what if you had to get ready for this next act in your life, whatever that next chapter is. What is that stage looking like? What is the scene? What are the characters that we're going to be intermingling with during this thing? This is a very interesting one. So we'll get into that all more here in a moment. But if you're new here, again, my name is Justin. And just know that when you're coming across this video, you're in sync with the moon, and she loves that. But also, this is a place for you if you happen to have Cancer in your placement. Sun, moon, rising, maybe Jupiter, wherever. This one's for you. And I do tarot card spreads based off this lovely luminary, the good old moon. And I'll talk about what sign she's in, what phase she's in, what she's going for. Of course, it's all them lunar shenanigans. And just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one. So take what fits into your story, discard the rest, and everything will be dope, Cancer. Now, let's jump into it. Because I really do enjoy when the moon is in Pisces. There's something always very kind of just extra magical about this. Something that just enjoy it. I know a couple people, I actually know quite a bit of people who have their moon in Pisces, and they're an interesting group. I do enjoy those too. But before we jump into this thing, we actually got a lot going on here. I'm gonna shuffle your cards while we're talking about this. But depending on when you're watching this, happy Saturn Day. Saturn is associated with Saturdays. And I like to take Saturn Day as a day to just to get your stuff together. Just see where things may have gotten a little disorderly and just bring back structure, bring back form. This could be a great time to do some of those Saturnian things, set some limits, set some restrictions as far as like, okay, what do I need to get done? What have I been putting off? This could be just a great time, maybe you've been needing to start this project, or maybe you have something for a presentation for work that you're needing to get done. Just knocking it out now, and then when you get done with it, it's just like, oh, okay, now that that's off my plate, I can free up, I have more energy to do other things. So those are just some ways that I really kind of enjoy working with Saturn days. I also think of it as a time too to kind of talk with people who, since Saturn has this association with time and kind of like wisdom and things. I like to take this as a time to maybe even talk with someone who you consider wise, or maybe speaking with an elder, something along those lines. But also too, something kind of cool I think to think about is, what's your relationship with your Saturn placement? What's that looking like? Where's Saturn placed? What sign is he in? What aspects are being formed to Saturn? This get some good insights on that, so you know how to. So you're working with your chart on a pretty regular basis. Just take the day and just kind of reflect on what that energy means to you. That could be just another thing to do during this time. So thank you, Spirit. But I think that's all I got for you there on Saturn. Let's get into, and actually before we get into the lunar shenanigans, on the, I think that's going to be this. Oh, okay, the 6th. I was like, my notes look all crazy. So on the 6th, Mars is going to be stationing retrograde. And so, look, it took me a minute to even get to understand what's happening. But with Mars stationing retrograde, I like to think retrogrades as a time to kind of take a step back, really just kind of, especially with Mars is ready to fight. And Mars going back into his sign of fall and Cancer. We want to look at areas where maybe you've been emotionally reactive, and whatever that means. That doesn't just have to be where you're just blowing up in a blind rage. It could be where maybe you like to hide in your clamshell. Maybe that's an action that you take. Maybe look at areas where you're inactive. That might be even something too to think about with a Mars retrograde, and inactive in a way that is maybe coming to your detriment. And how can we maybe get out of these things? Maybe there's a certain feeling around something, and there's a need to work with that in a different way again. So that's just something to think about there with Mars. And I talk about that a lot more on my other channel, Alchemist Stain. That link, there's a link down in the description box, so definitely check that out. But now let's get into the lunar shenanigans. Because on the 7th of December, the moon is going to enter into Pisces at about 1:49 a.m., and that's going to be Pacific time. Now, I'll talk about the first quarter next, and I got a nice little chart for you there. But when you think about Pisces, Pisces is a really cool sign. They're ruled by Big Papa, Jupiter. And so there's this expansive quality, of course, that comes with Pisces, but it's a little different than what you would expect with Sag. You know, you think Sag and you think all this liveliness, this enthusiasm, this quest for adventure. And Pisces is it's a feeling, because Pisces is not, it's the feminine side of Jupiter, the feminine quality, because Pisces is feminine in nature. Their element is water, so there's this emotions that go with this psychic, empathic nature that comes with them. The mutability gives them this adaptable to be able to really feel the flow of the emotions and the feelings that can come. And I mean, like, when we're talking about the feelings, this could be where I imagine Pisces really do well. And I mean, I'm thinking about some of the Pisces moons I know, just think about that, for example, who really enjoy like music and really, and I mean, it's cool to talk with the Pisces moon about that. But even like being moved through dance, through cinema, through dreams. Those are some things that Pisces really moves through very actively. And I think that Jupiter there as well really gives this deep, expansive connection to Source, and to be able to move almost unrestricted through those waters. And so that's where Pisces, I find a moon in Pisces is a one to really make sure to be mindful of your energies, as far as if you've noticed something that is kind of coming in, you can just kind of move that stuff out. Be very observant about how emotions and things are passing through you. But this could be a time to do maybe some sound healing. I would think even with the moon in Pisces, maybe listening to some of those like, what am I thinking about? Those little sound bowls, or maybe even we get some bells here, or something, maybe listening to some jazz music, some classical music, something where there aren't any words, maybe just something that's more music, something that you can create your own story in. This is a great visualization time, I feel, for the moon being in Pisces. So play around with that. Really, get in your imagination. Stare off in the clouds. They do some watercolors, do some tarot, whatever that looks like. Anything to spark the imagination. I think this would be very beneficial for that moon in Pisces. Now on Sunday, the 8th of December, we get into that first quarter phase, and that's going to be happening at 7:27 a.m. And let me go ahead and switch over to the chart. Now, the first quarter, this happens when the sun and the moon are 90 degrees apart from one another. And I'm going to go ahead and circle Saturn in this mix here. They're snuggled up real close. So you got the sun over here, then in Sagittarius, and then you got the moon and Saturn in Pisces. But with the first quarter phase, this is the time where it's about taking action. And this to me is very inspired action, because you have two signs that are ruled by Jupiter. So there is this thing, if you've been feeling something, if you've been getting an itch for an adventure, you saw someone create a piece and now you want to paint something. You saw someone build something, now you want to do this. Whatever that is, this quarter is a time to act on those things, to allow the creative, to create those feelings to move through you. If something wants you to, something as simple as even just dancing, if you just wanted to, you find a groove coming on, and pay attention to why it makes you groove. Get some insights about that. How can you channel more of that energy? One thing that I've always found very interesting for myself was that when I would look for certain songs to channel certain emotions, they wouldn't quite hit how, I mean, you could get them in the ballpark, but they couldn't hit how I wanted them to. And it really came from when I wrote my own things, because of course, no one can write about my journey and my emotions and feel the things better than I can. So when it comes to myself. So that can be just something to taking just some actions to get those feelings out there, to really understand yourself on a much deeper level, to not necessarily disconnect from the body, but understand how intimate this connection is, and just this amazing vehicle that you can create in. And I think that's something too with this, considering that this moon here is snuggled. Oh, let me see if I can draw. Kind of highlighting here this moon just separating from Saturn here. It really would have been, there's kind of this little separating T square here that's happening. The sun would have just separated from Jupiter. And so there's a lot of things that are closing out. This could be a time where if you've ever thought about doing something, whether it be maybe you wanted to take a spinning class. I don't know about a spinning class. Well, why not? Spinning can get you inspired. Or maybe you wanted to, oh goodness, look in your chart. Look in your chart and see where this is coming up for you. Because especially if you have a lot of mutable placements, this could be a very active time for you. You could be feeling a lot, because we got a lot of mutable energy in the mix right now with the sun, Mercury, moon, Saturn, and Jupiter all in mutable signs. But with just all this energy, this kind of active energy in this mutable stuff, this can be a great time to just move some pieces around, get some things in a place that you want them to be. Venus just entered into Aquarius, and so now you can take these ideas and really bring them to you and close out. The nice thing about mutable things is that they finish up what the fixed signs start, so that the cardinal signs can begin anew, so that they can let go and feel this sense of completion. So don't be afraid to journey into the unknown, just thinking with Pisces and the moon card. But one thing I wanted to talk about too is the Sabian symbol that the moon is falling on. And this is happening at phase 348 of Pisces, which is a gigantic tent, or in a gigantic tent, villagers witness a spectacular performance. Isn't that great? And the keynote for this is the collective appeal of well-staged and exciting display of skill and or oratory. And what I take from this is, again, that you are that stage, this gigantic tent. This is your life. We've come to see you in the things that make you, the things that bring about this sense of wonder, the things that you can do that nobody else can do. And it's talking about this. If one thing I would say, if you've ever doubted yourself as far as, oh, I can't do this thing because it's already been done because of blah, 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 blah. No, it hasn't. If it's been done, then you wouldn't be here. That's the unique thing about this journey, is that we all have something unique to bring. I was just talking with someone about whistling the other day. I've been whistling since before I could talk, whereas this other person couldn't whistle. But it was just like, it is something that they had to think about more than I didn't have to, and I don't have to think about it that hard. But, this just gives me this thing that really we're just kind of all in our heads when it comes to whether we can do something or not. Oh, is someone gonna like this? Who cares? Do you like it? First and foremost, do you love it? And that's all that matters, as long as you love it. Because I think about, even just with my own self, how many creative things that have not come to fruition just because of doubt or of feeling, what's the word I'm looking for? Not embarrassed, but self-conscious or something along those lines. Think about just what gold that is just waiting to be discovered, within us. So I think that this would be a great time, especially with being in Sag season. And with Mars being stationing retrograde, just think about where your energies have been going. And then especially when he moves back into Cancer, let's do some things that really, let's start from a new beginning. You know, I really like how healing in a very inspirational way that this could be, and something that you can bring on. It's not really something that this could be something where someone can help you enhance your gifts, but I think that this can be just a very encouraging time for us with where this energy is at. But let me go ahead and adjust this and switch over. So yeah, that's all I got for you. There's some things to meditate on. And if you wanted to work with these energies more closely, more personally, see what's going on in your chart, or even want to book a tarot card reading with me, down in the description box below, I have a link with all the services that I provide. So definitely check that out. Avail yourself of those little gifts. And yes, that's all. So last couple of things here. These readings that I do, they're not gender specific readings. Apply these energies to people as they make sense for your situations. And before we jump into this, I'm going to ring a bell to bring some nice vibes for this little Pisces moon. So adjust your volume if you need to, and let's get into it. All right, let's get into this thing. Yes, look at you celebrating the beauty that is you. You have the dawn of discovery here. And this is a card of every sunshine heralds a new adventure. Embrace the journey of self-discovery. And that's, I really feel this square, this first quarter moon is wanting you to do, to go on this journey, Sag, of self-discovery, Pisces. Understand the things that move through you, the energies that you have, the cosmic connection that you were meant to bring here, your little own slice of the universe. When you were born, the planets were aligned in a specific type of way, in a certain setup that is unique for all of us. It's as unique as your fingerprint. And every day, every moment, there's an opportunity to learn something new about yourself, to feel there's really is. And when I say miracles, like there's miracles all about, or all around and abound, and they don't have to be anything out of the ordinary. You know, just getting up and just like, yes, greeting the sun, that's a miracle. With everything that's going on, you think about how active even when we're sleeping, nothing's resting. There's stuff that's always going on. And so the fact that there can be all these things going on so wonderfully, and so what seems random, but there's an order here. I feel like there's so many sunrises that you can. And I almost am getting this kind of feeling of, it's not necessarily you seeing sunrises, it's we wanting to see you. Here's your stage. You know, this is you presenting yourself. And I'm almost getting a future energy. This is you getting ready to take a bow. This is everyone kind of celebrating you. Take a moment with that to be. I don't know about you. I think about sometimes when I would play sax and I'd be on stage, and there's nothing like that. Like that's a whole vibe. That lights up all my Leo placements. That just there's nothing quite like that. And I think that there's something here about just imagining yourself in this just in a prime, not like when you were in your prime, just you in a new prime. All right, let's get some tarot on this. Let's see what are some past energies that may have been coming up for you. Spirit. All right, so you have the Knight of Swords in reverse here. And so in the past, this is giving me this energy of, it's like a holding back type of deal with this Knight. So the Knight of Swords is the airy part of air. Knight of Swords is very much as Aquarius energy for me. And this to me is giving this it's like maybe the focus and the drive was there, but something distracted the knight. You know, with all that air that the Knight of Swords brings, I think that sometimes you can get too much in the head, that he could have a hard time grounding things with them being in reverse. This ideas, you know, as far as like, you know, we want to embrace every day as a new adventure, but I think sometimes I'm almost even getting like a defeated energy where even if you've been saying like it's been kind of the same old thing, then I feel this kind of past energy here is just a need to really kind of think about how have you been greeting the day every day. And not as a judgment, but just kind of as just like a check-in. What has been the kind of common thing when you've been getting up? Has it been an adventure, or has it been something you've been like, oh, just close all the blinds? And I feel like if you've been kind of closing the blinds, then that might be a time to kind of go quiet for a little bit. And as far as like kind of sit with yourself, kind of get into this sort of hermit type of energy here. But something you're very interesting. Let me get a clarifier with this Knight of Swords and see what's going on with him. Interesting. Thanks, Spirit. All right, so the Knight of Swords is clarified by the Ten of Cups in reverse. And so this is giving me that something is not feeling as it's not enough is what I'm getting with this Ten of Cups. Maybe the things that are that are just kind of maybe up until now that have been kind of going on have just been, it's not been just the vision, it's not been the dream, not quite how you thought you would feel after that. There's sometimes, you know, have you ever been, I don't know if you've ever been like thirsty, like really thirsty, and you drink a bunch of water and then you feel a little nauseous afterwards, and not quite as, you're full of water, but that thirst is not satiated, but you don't want to take any more because you've taken on just a bunch of water. So there's something about that, there's this discomfort, that in between phase there is what I'm getting, is if that kind of makes sense. And so we'll see when we go into the present, what are some things we can address there. But if that's something that has been coming up for you, I think it's I'm not necessarily getting like a discard this story, but you know, maybe this was like a first draft, you know, in this first quarter of something, and now we just need to go back and look at where some things kind of got off here. It doesn't even, I would even be mindful, the Knight of Swords can be a combative knight. He can be very quick to fight. And I would say be mindful of bringing any sort of dissatisfaction onto other people and doing this sort of projection type of deal. You know, because this is Mars and Pisces. This Ten of Cups, and when I feel like things are uncertain, when we're not sure, or things have, they're not feeling like the sunrise and things are starting to fall apart or something like that. It just seems like that we can get into a reactive place. And, Mars being retrograde. So, but to me, this is giving something is getting ready to change. We're getting ready to end in this Suite of Cups here with the Ten of Cups, and then we're getting ready to get on to, we'd be moving on elementally. Next would be like the air signs, the swords. And so this to me is even like that kind of self-discovery, and maybe it's just a need to get back to self again, kind of get the, with all that air that's going on too with the Knight of Swords. Yeah, pay attention to where your visions are at and what you've been speaking. Because I'm even being kind of drawn to the clouds that are in here. And there's a lot of movement in this card, a lot of swirling energy, if you can see here in this Knight of Swords. Yeah, so that's something too. I'm even looking at him. He's like, it looks like he's winking, but I could even think of that as like maybe he's got something in his eye. There's just all these particles that are around here. So a lot of birds in here as well. So it seems like a lot of noise too. Maybe a lot of just spread out energies here. So just something to think about there too. But let's see how we can move on from this in the present. Let's see what are some things to think about. Ooh, look at all these knights. Hey, Sarah. All right, so we got another hot knight. We got the Knight of Wands here. And so, with the Knight of Wands, this is going forth with renewed vigor. This is seizing that day. Absolutely. Like life, look at her taking that baton and running with it. Running towards the sunlight, running towards the sunrise. Running because the energies are waxing right now with this moonlight. We're still picking up speed here. And now we've gone from this reverse night to this kind of the deacons that oh well, not quite. He'll eventually kind of pass through this because the Knight of Wands is the first two deacons of Leo and the last of Cancer. And that's going to be some of the territory, at least that first and that last, first of Leo, last of Cancer. That's going to be some territory Mars is going through. And so there's this moving from this, you're taking this past energy, and I feel like almost like how again this baton, this wand that she has, this almost feels like that this is past you giving present you this new every day. This is like, yeah, every day, like this new opportunity to set yourself up for a different story. How little actions can either enhance or derail you. And that's something too I would even kind of pay attention to. Do you have, because maybe this was a time, this past moment, maybe things got in a bit of a low. So let that be some valuable information where it's like, okay, next time I'm kind of getting up on like noticing an uptick in things, I need to set up some stronger defenses there for when things maybe take a bit of a dip, so that the dip is not so hard, is what I'm getting also with that Knight of Wands. Okay. But let's get clarified with this. Thanks, Spirit. Okay. Interesting. So you have the Ace of Pentacles in reverse here. Now the Ace cards, they are the roots of the energy. So this is like the root of Earth. It's not necessarily the Earth manifested yet. This is just the idea here. And even with the Ace of Pentacles, there's still, even in reverse, there's still this opportunity for something to come to fruition, but it's just with this is all potential with the aces in general. If you take these positive actions towards, or moving from this kind of lower direction, it may not be the miracles or the things that you want, but at least it'll be something. And this Ace of Pentacles is giving me kind of a gratitude energy, but not in a harsh way. Just remember, just like, hey, it's the little wins. It's the little wins that just keep us going. We keep getting those little wins till they accumulate to even bigger kind of wins here. But this Ace of Pentacles also too is giving me this. Things aren't gonna come to you. You're gonna have to go out there and get it with that Ace of Pentacles. She's running, running to that ace. And I don't feel like you gotta run too. And I don't feel like it's not chasing after something that was too. That's something even interesting here with that Ten of Cups. Maybe we're chasing after an old dream, or wanting something to be like it was, but something can never be like it originally completely was. It's gonna take different shape. It's gonna evolve. It's gonna be, you're a different you than you were 5 minutes ago. So, and you're gonna continue to evolve. And so, yeah, that's what this is giving me. This, this is a matter of, even with just looking at this card, we could either see this as the coming of the sun or the setting of the sun. It's almost giving me kind of like that glass half full, half empty sort of perspective. But even then, there's half full, half empty, there's still something. Half moon, still half light, half dark, still got half of both things, so. And let's see what are some future energies. Let's see what these knights are running towards. All right, last little bit here. One more person. Thanks, Spirit. So we got the Page of Pentacles here. And what a person. I think with the page here, the pages are the earthly part of, well, this one is the earthly part of Earth, so just materialized. And I like that about the Page of Pentacles. The pages, the pages to me are the goal, kind of the thing that we're looking for. Whereas the king, the queen, and the knight, they're all associated with a certain like decan with the zodiac. The pages cover more of the quadrants, like the earth elements, the water, the fire, the earth. And each of them is that element in an earthly state, in a materialized place. So whatever this Ace of Pentacles is, the things that you want to change, the things that you want manifest, they can and will, but it's the actions of this Knight of Wands and the wisdom from this Knight of Swords in the situations that have happened that are going to make this page a possibility, that are going to get you to that sense of completion, to then where we can start and move on to that Ace of Wands even energies, when I'm even kind of getting this kind of continuing this cycle, going on to this, to this next adventure. But I think if you take these actions with this page, you're going to surprise yourself, I think, with what maybe would come up there, what you could see, just like how you can get things sort of back on track. But let me get a clarifier with this Page of Pentacles. Lovely. Look at that. Look at that. You got the sun. Look at that sun shining. I love when we get all this solar imagery here. And so this to me is that sun is shining the light on these dreams, on this Ace of Pentacles, this thing manifesting. But the sun, the sun on the face of the sun is always interesting. It's not this like, it's not super ecstatic. It's not like this over the top sort of face here, but I'm almost getting this sort of like mundane thing. It's just like, this is just what the sun does. It rises, it sets. There's nothing you do to the sun. Like, what's so impressive? This is just like, duh, I just do this thing. And maybe that's what this message is supposed to be. Just like, maybe maybe thinking too hard about a situation, how you can get out of something, and it's just going forward, looking towards the sun, following your light. And even with the sun can be this recognition with this. And when we were talking about the Sabian symbols, a villager witnessing a spectacular performance. This is, you've turned the times of your journey into, maybe you turn it into a book, or maybe you turn it into a YouTube, or maybe you turn it into a piece of art or something. But there's something, you're getting some recognition for this thing. Whether the degree of it, I feel like depends on, what exposure you're looking for. But very interesting. Let's get some advice from Big Papa. Good. Interesting. And I'm with it. So you have the Three of Swords in reverse here. And this to me is this energy of acceptance, where maybe something, we're not discounting that something was a struggle, that something may have been, and of course I'm speaking very generally here, but something may not have been hard to do this whole journey of self-discovery, maybe do the whole, when the sun was setting, going through that, through the darker aspects of things. But this to me is coming out of the other side of it. Expanding, growing, having felt through it, having understand it, formed a relationship with it, understanding how things need to close out, and having the situation, and I know this may sound, but to even feel justified, even like knowing that it happened for and the reason why something happened as well, and the reason why maybe things happen, whatever the happenings are. But let me get a clarifier with that. Ooh, look at all these people just showing up here as a whole party. Got the Queen of Pentacles in reverse here. And let's go ahead and switch back over. Because the Queen of Pentacles, where she is she's a watery part of Earth, so she's a really great creator. Her card, every time, I love her card because it's just so abundant. It's like she's rocking about almost as much stuff as the Empress does. So it's almost like she's got this little cove. This is the abundant part of the Empress. But the Queen of Pentacles is giving me, just thinking about even the cards that are even kind of associated with her. I'm thinking about that she was the first to a Cap in the last of Sag, and that last of Sag energy, I think, is where she can feel the pressure, feel the weight of starting these new adventures and being in this state of doubt. What if this thing doesn't grow? What if this doesn't, forgetting her abundance. She's in her place, surrounded in wealth, and just kind of focused on this one particular aspect, and maybe just kind of losing perspective or losing this focus here. And yeah, I think that this queen is this invitation to get back in touch with the things that make you feel prolific, that make you want to. I'm even looking at that rabbit, how the rabbits are out. When the rabbits are out, there's just a bunch of them. When they feel safe to procreate, I mean, I mean, even when it's not, there's rabbits everywhere. And so this to me, yeah, maybe it's even like a time to kind of tend to the garden. The sun is out, metaphorically speaking. And yeah, just kind of tend to some things that maybe have been, yeah, maybe been a little neglected here as of late, or just been kind of maybe, yeah, maybe this just become a lot kind of dealing with some things, but just something to meditate on. But I think I'm gonna leave that there, something to think about. But if you like that, if anything resonated with you, give it a thumbs up. And share this thing if you know there it is. If you know someone who would get some nuggets of wisdom for this. And then subscribe there, you son. Hit that bell button to get notified on all these videos each day. And then last little bit, if you, like I was saying earlier, and actually let me get your surprise card. If you want to know what's going on in the Celestial News Weekly, down in the description box below, I talk about all the stuff outside of the moon, the sun, and the rest of their cohorts, and yeah, the things and how to work with those energies. So definitely check that out. But thanks, Spirit. But let's get to your surprise card here. What's another queen? So you got the queen card in reverse here. Very interesting. And this is a card of determination and sacrifice. And so I think this just reminds me of how we keep moving when there's no one around. When the things that we have to do, the things that we have to tell ourselves to feel inspired to keep going, especially when things feel tough. And the things that are sacrificed, the time that you take to do certain things, to prepare your oratory speech, to display your skills, whatever that's looking like. And I'm even getting to, just kind of even going back to that like Knight of Swords, where it's like expecting one sort of thing with that sacrifice and not getting where you need to be. But the fact that you did something was this worthy of celebration in itself. And maybe a lot of people didn't show up to your first performance, but you just keep showing up, keep practicing, keep getting better, keep improving. And next thing you know, you'll have a full house, for whatever this thing is that we're talking about here. But the queen is giving me this will do what it takes. And I don't mean to her detriment, but will, even when times get tough, she can find she has the will. It may not look perfect each day, but each day gives her a new opportunity to show up better and show up however she needs to that day. So try not to let something ruin that determination is what I'm kind of getting, some last kind of closing messages with that. But that's all I got for you there. So Until next time, keep raising the vibration and keep eyes on that moon. And I will catch you on the next one. Let me catch you. Oh, where is it at? Okay. Sunday. Wait, no. Moon Day.